The emergency broadcast crackled across every communication channel in civilized space. Red warning symbols flashed on screens from the core worlds to the outer rim settlements. A reptilian council member stood before the assembled representatives, her scales pale with genuine fear. Ragnarok 7 is forbidden, she announced, her voice steady despite the tremor in her clawed hands. 3 survey teams have vanished. The recordings we recovered show why. The viewing hall darkened. Footage played across the massive screens. Creatures moved through dense forests, each one larger than anything most species had seen outside of nightmares. Pack hunters the size of cargo transports worked together with terrifying intelligence. Flying predators blotted out the sun with wingspans that stretched 50 meters. Something in a toxic ocean dragged an armored survey vessel beneath churning waves. The screams cut off abruptly. No sapient species could survive there. The council member continued. This world is death incarnate. We declare it permanently off limits. The declaration passed unanimously. Warning beacons launched toward the planet within hours. Every civilized species agreed. Ragnarok 7 belonged to its monsters. Except nobody told the humans they had to listen. 5,000 colonists floated in orbit around the forbidden world aboard the Perseverance. Most of them had left Earth with nothing but hope and determination. The overcrowded homeworld offered them poverty and desperation. This distant planet promised a chance at something better. At least it had before the warnings started arriving. Captain Rodriguez read the council broadcast for the 3rd time. Her dark eyes moved across the recorded footage of creatures tearing through survey equipment like paper. Behind her, Colony Administrator Lee paced the observation deck. We voted, Lee said quietly. Everyone knew the risks before we left Earth. We have no other options. Rodriguez nodded slowly. She pulled up the colony manifest. 5,000 names. 5,000 people who trusted her to lead them somewhere better. The council offered no alternatives. Earth had no room for them to return. Other colony worlds rejected their applications for lacking proper credentials or credits. What does Dr. Okonkwo say? Rodriguez asked. Lee gestured to the viewport where the planet rotated below them, bands of purple and green vegetation covering vast continents. She watched the footage differently than the council did. Says the creatures show complex social structures, communication patterns, intelligence. Intelligence makes them more dangerous or more predictable, Lee countered. She thinks the survey teams failed because they came armed and afraid. The predators responded to the threat. Rodriguez considered this. Earth's history taught humans about living alongside dangerous animals. Respect and understanding often worked better than weapons and walls. But Earth's predators seemed tame compared to what waited below. Take us down, she finally decided. Coastal plateau, near fresh water. We set up defenses, but we don't shoot unless directly attacked. The landing took 6 hours. Atmospheric entry turned the sky orange around the descending ship. Colonists strapped into their seats and gripped armrests as the massive vessel shuddered through turbulence. Finally, landing thrusters fired and the Perseverance settled onto solid ground with a deep metallic groan. Nobody moved for a long moment. They had actually done it. Landed on a world the entire galaxy feared. Welcome to Ragnarok, Lee announced over the intercom. Let's build something beautiful. The first week passed in frantic activity. Prefabricated structures rose across the plateau. Solar panels unfolded like mechanical flowers. Engineers activated the perimeter sensors and defensive shields. Farmers prepared soil for crops. Medical teams set up emergency facilities. Children stayed close to parents, eyes wide as they watched the alien sky. But everyone felt the eyes watching from beyond the perimeter. Dr. Okonkwo spent those first days analyzing local animal calls. Her equipment picked up vocalizations in ranges most species couldn't hear. Complex patterns emerged, warnings being shared, territory being established, curiosity being expressed. They're talking about us, she told Rodriguez during a late-night meeting. Debating what we are we prey? Rodriguez asked bluntly. Okonkwo shook her head. I don't think so. Prey doesn't build structures or use tools. They're trying to figure out if we're a threat. On the eighth night, something huge moved past the perimeter. Sensors detected it but couldn't get clear readings. Guards watched massive shapes slip through the darkness just beyond the lights. No attacks came, just observation. Morning revealed the evidence. Claw marks gouged deep into the soil just outside the defensive line. Something had circled the entire colony during the night. Examining them, learning about them, young Ryan stood at the edge of the perimeter and stared at those marks. Back on Earth, he had rehabilitated injured wildlife. Bears, wolves, big cats. People thought he was crazy then too. He understood fear but refused to let it control him. The marks told story. Whatever made them was curious, not aggressive. Careful, not reckless. It could have breached the defenses easily, but chose not to. This wasn't the behavior of a mindless monster. We need to go out there, Ryan said to anyone who would listen. We need to show them we're not a threat. Most people thought he had lost his mind. Rodriguez considered the proposal carefully. They needed to expand beyond the landing site eventually. Food supplies wouldn't last forever. Staying behind walls meant slow starvation. Limited scouting missions, Rodriguez finally authorized. Small teams, weapons for defense only. And Ryan leads the Xenofauna observations. 2 weeks after landing, Ryan stepped beyond the perimeter for the first time. 4 nervous guards accompanied him. The alien forest swallowed them within minutes. Strange vegetation pressed close. Calls echoed from every direction. Something large moved parallel to them, staying just out of sight. Ryan's heart pounded, but he kept walking. Somewhere in this wilderness, the real test waited. The galaxy had declared this world impossible. 5,000 humans bet their lives that compassion could prove the galaxy wrong. In the distance, something roared. The sound shook leaves from trees and sent smaller creatures fleeing. The guards raised their weapons with shaking hands. Ryan raised his empty hands instead and waited to see what would answer. The forest opened into a rocky clearing scattered with boulders the size of houses. Ryan's team moved carefully between the stones, scanning for threats. 2 weeks of scouting had taught them the basic rhythms of Ragnarok's wilderness. Mornings belonged to the flyers. Afternoons to the herbivores. Evenings brought the real hunters. They should have been back at the colony by now. The wounded creature changed everything. Ryan spotted it first. Between 2 massive boulders, something enormous struggled against thick vines wrapped around its hind leg. The vines had thorns the length of knives. Each movement drove them deeper into flesh. Dark blood pooled on stone. The creature looked like someone had merged a wolf with a bear and then made it the size of an elephant. Thick white, fur-covered, powerful muscles. 6 legs ended in claws that had gouged trenches in solid rock. Its head swung toward the humans, and intelligent eyes studied them with terrifying focus. Fall back, one of the guards whispered. Slowly, Ryan didn't move. He watched the creature's labored breathing, saw how infection had set into the wounds. Noticed how it had stopped struggling, conserving energy. This wasn't an ambush. This was suffering. It's dying, Ryan said quietly. Good, another guard muttered. Less chance it kills us. No, Ryan unslung his pack. We help it. The guard stared at him like he had suggested, juggling fusion grenades. One grabbed his arm. That thing could bite you in half. Ryan gently pulled free. It could, but it hasn't. Look at its eyes. It's afraid of us. He was right. The creature's massive head tracked their every movement. Its ears lay flat against its skull. Defensive posture, not aggressive. Despite being trapped and wounded, despite facing unknown threats, it held itself with careful control. Ryan pulled out his medkit and started forward. The guards hissed protests but didn't stop him. Protocol said they should return and report. Common sense said they should run. But something in Ryan refused to leave a suffering animal to die alone, that he moved slowly. Each step deliberate and careful. He kept his hands visible and his voice soft. Easy now. I'm not going to hurt you. Let me help. The creature's eyes narrowed. A low rumble built in its chest that Ryan felt in his bones. Warning. He stopped and crouched down, making himself smaller, less threatening. I know you're scared. I would be too. But those vines are killing you. Minutes passed. Ryan stayed still. The creature studied him with an intelligence that sent chills down his spine. This wasn't an animal. Not really. This was a person in a different shape. Finally, the rumbling stopped. The creature's muscles relaxed slightly. Not trust, just exhaustion and pain overwhelming caution. Ryan moved closer. He could smell blood and infection now. Up close, the creature was even more massive. One paw could crush him easily. Those teeth could end him in seconds. He pulled out cutting tools and antiseptic. The guards watched in frozen horror as he approached the trapped leg. The creature tensed but didn't pull away. This is going to hurt, Ryan warned. I'm sorry. He started cutting vines. Each strand released with a wet snap. The thorns had burrowed deep. The creature whined softly but held still. Ryan worked carefully, removing each thorn and treating the wounds. The antiseptic made the creature flinch, but it never snapped at him. 2 hours later, the leg was free. Ryan had used every medical supply he carried. The creature lay on its side, breathing heavily. Its eyes followed Ryan as he backed away slowly. There, you're free now. The creature didn't move, just watched. Ryan and his team retreated to safe distance. They expected the creature to flee. Instead, it slowly pushed itself upright, testing the treated leg. It limped but held weight. Then those intelligent eyes fixed on Ryan again. The creature dipped its massive head once. Deliberate, unmistakable. Thank you. The guards practically dragged Ryan back to the colony. He filed his report while Rodriguez and Dr. Okonkwo listened in growing amazement. You realize you could have been killed, Rodriguez said. But I wasn't, Ryan replied. It understood I was helping. Dr. Okonkwo pulled up her recordings of local vocalizations. These creatures are far more intelligent than anyone realized. The council saw monsters because they expected monsters. But the behavioral patterns suggest complex social structures. Family groups, cooperative hunting, maybe even culture. Over the next week, strange things happened. Other predators appeared at the colony edges. Not attacking, just watching, studying. The sensors picked up vocalizations that Okonkwo said sounded like discussions. Then the white-furred creature returned. Ryan was helping expand the perimeter fence when he felt eyes on his back. He turned and found the creature sitting 20 meters away. Close enough to see, far enough to not threaten. Its leg had healed cleanly. The limp was gone. Hello again, Ryan said softly. The creature's ears perked up. It made a sound somewhere between a chuff and a purr. Ryan started bringing food on his daily work assignments. He'd leave it near the fence and return to work. The creature would wait until he moved away, then approach and eat. Each day it came a little closer, stayed a little longer. Other colonists noticed. Some were terrified, others fascinated. Dr. Okonkwo recorded everything, building a database of behavior and communication. By the end of the month, the creature followed Ryan during his scouting missions. Always at a distance, never threatening. When smaller predators approached the human teams, the larger creature would appear and the threats would flee. Ryan named it Frost for its white fur. Dr. Okonkwo warned against anthropomorphizing. But when Frost saved a scouting team from a pack of aggressive hunters, Rodriguez authorized the Xenofauna Integration Program. If they want to be friends, Rodriguez said, watching Frost rest peacefully near the colony perimeter, who are we to refuse? The council monitoring station detected the unusual activity. Urgent warnings flooded the colony's communication systems. Cease interaction immediately. The predators were too dangerous. Ryan sat beside Frost that evening and scratched behind its ears. The massive creature made a sound like rocks grinding together. Contentment. Let them warn, Ryan said. We're already home. 3 months after landing, the colony looked nothing like the desperate settlement it had been. Gardens flourished with earth crops adapted to alien soil. Children laughed as they played in the plaza. Solar arrays hummed with steady power. But the real change was harder to see and impossible to ignore. Engineer Kowalski discovered it by accident. She was repairing a water pump near the eastern perimeter when movement caught her eye. 6 sleek predators emerged from the forest. Each one stood as tall as a horse, built like raptors with feathers instead of scales. Their eyes gleamed with intelligence as they studied her. Kowalski froze. Protocol said to retreat slowly. Her instincts screamed to run, but she had watched Harper with Frost, seen how patience and calm worked better than fear. "Hello," she said quietly. "I'm just fixing this pump. I'll be gone soon." The lead raptor tilted its head, made a clicking sound. The others responded with their own calls. Not aggressive. Curious, Kowalski returned to her work, moving slowly. The raptors settled into the grass to watch. When she finished, she found they had brought her gifts. Small prey animals, neatly killed. An offering, she reported it that evening. Dr. Okonkwo nearly fell out of her chair. "They're initiating contact," the scientist said. "Try to establish social bonds through gift-giving." Kowalski returned the next day with her own gifts. Dried meat from the colony's stores. The raptors accepted it with soft chirps. Over the following weeks, she learned their pack dynamics. The alpha female who led them. The juvenile males who roughhoused like puppies. The elder who seemed to make final decisions. She wasn't alone in forming these connections. Farmer Lou discovered that the massive herbivores who trampled his crops would stop and listen when he sang. His voice seemed to calm them. He started singing while he worked, and the herbivores would gather at safe distance. Listening peacefully, that a medical technician named Osei befriended one of the flying predators after treating its injured wing. The creature returned daily, bringing its flock to roost near the medical facility. They drove away scavengers and kept the area clear of pests. More colonists reported similar experiences. The predators of Ragnarok were reaching out, forming bonds, becoming part of the community. And they were protecting the colony without being asked. Dr. Okonkwo worked frantically to document everything. Her reports to the scientific community went unanswered. The galaxy refused to believe what was happening. Then the diplomatic ship arrived. The council vessel settled into orbit and requested permission to land. Rodriguez granted it, knowing they had no choice. An ambassador's shuttle descended to the plateau and disgorged a delegation of insectoid diplomats accompanied by heavily armed guards. Ambassador Chickstall's compound eyes swept across the colony. She expected ruins. Survivors huddled behind fortifications. Evidence of the inevitable disaster. Instead, she found gardens and children. Humans working peacefully. And everywhere, the predators. Frost lay near the central plaza, watching colonists pass by. Kowalski's raptor pack patrolled the perimeter. Flying predators roost on colony structures. A massive herbivore grazed contentedly near the school where children pointed and waved at it. The ambassador's guards went rigid, weapons raised. Chickstall's antennae trembled with confusion. "This is impossible," she stated flatly. Ryan approached with Frost following close behind. The guards nearly opened fire. Chickstall stopped them with a sharp gesture. "Ambassador," Ryan greeted. "Welcome to our home." Frost chose that moment to investigate the newcomers. The massive predator moved forward with curiosity, sniffing at the delegation. Guards scrambled backward. Chickstall held her ground through sheer force of will. Frost sniffed her thoroughly, made a thoughtful sound, then simply turned and walked away. "They're not monsters," Ryan explained. "They're people, just different. You have to listen to them." Dr. Okonkwo gave the official presentation. Months of research, behavioral analysis, communication studies. The predators of Ragnarok possessed intelligence that rivaled many spacefaring species. They had complex emotions, social structures, even what might be culture. The previous expeditions failed because they arrived with weapons and fear, Okonkwo explained. The predators responded to the threat with force. "We arrived desperate and open. We showed compassion to wounded Frost. That changed everything." Chickstall requested permission to observe for 3 days. Rodriguez agreed. The ambassador watched in growing disbelief as the impossible became routine. She saw children playing near resting predators, farmers working alongside herbivores who helped clear fields, Engineers climbing flying predators to repair solar panels on high structures. Medical teams treating injured creatures who waited patiently for help. On the final evening, the colonists held a gathering in the central plaza. Families shared meals. Music played from portable speakers. And scattered among the humans, predators of every size rested peacefully. Frost lounged near Ryan. Kowalski's raptor pack groomed each other in the grass. Flying predators roost on building edges. Even a few of the massive herbivores had wandered close. Drawn by Lou's singing, Chixtao recorded everything. She knew the council would never believe without proof. Her guards remained tense, but no attacks came. The creatures simply existed alongside humans in comfortable companionship. "How did you do this?" the ambassador finally asked Ryan. Ryan scratched behind Frost's ears. The massive predator made that grinding purr sound. "We didn't do anything special," Ryan replied. "We just treated them with respect, showed kindness, listened to what they were trying to tell us. Earth taught us how to live with predators. We applied those lessons here. Other species cannot do this," Chixtal said. "We have tried to tame dangerous worlds. We always fail because you see danger first," Dr. Okonkwo suggested gently. "Humans see potential friends. That changes the approach." The ambassador departed with her recordings and reports. She filed them with the council, knowing they would spark fierce debate. Some would call for evacuation. Others would demand the humans share their secrets. A few might understand there were no secrets to share, just patience, compassion, and the radical belief that friendship could exist across any divide. Back on Ragnarok, Ryan watched the diplomatic shuttle rise toward orbit. Frost pressed against his side, warm and solid. "Think they'll understand?" he asked. Frost made a sound that might have been a chuckle. Understanding or not, the colony was home now, for humans and predators alike. 6 months of peace shattered with the arrival of the mining ship. The vessel appeared in orbit without warning, bypassing standard communication protocols. Its hull bore no proper identification, just the faded logo of a corporate consortium known for skirting galactic laws. Within hours, automated equipment began descending to the northern continent. Rodriguez received the alert during breakfast. She reached the communication center to find it flooded with demands from the mining operation. "This world has no legal protections," a gravelly voice announced. "We have mineral rights to this sector. Stay out of our operations." "This is a colony world," Rodriguez replied sharply. "You need council approval. Check your records, Captain. Ragnarok 7 is listed as forbidden and uninhabitable. No colony can exist here. Therefore, mining proceeds." The transmission cut off. Rodriguez pulled up satellite imaging. Massive drilling equipment carved into pristine wilderness. Excavators tore through forests. Processing plants spewed chemical waste into streams. Dr. Okonkwo burst into the center, her face pale. The northern continent is a major migration route. Hundreds of creatures use those forests. The mining is right in their path. Ryan was already suiting up for a recon mission when Frost appeared at his quarters. The massive predator pressed against the door, whining softly. Other creatures gathered near the colony perimeter, all agitated, all looking toward the north. "They know," Ryan said quietly. "They know something's wrong." The colonists organized quickly. Rodriguez authorized a delegation to confront the miners. Ryan volunteered to lead it. Kowalski and her raptor pack joined. Lou brought his musical talents. Dr. Okonkwo packed her translation equipment, and the predators came too. Frost led the way. Kowalski's raptors flanked them. Flying predators circled overhead. A few of the massive herbivores followed at distance. They moved as a unit, humans and creatures together. The journey took 2 days. They crossed rivers and mountains, following ancient animal trails. The predators seemed to know exactly where they were going. They had walked these paths for generations. The devastation hit them like a physical blow. Where forest had stood, only stumps remained. Mining equipment gouged massive wounds in the earth. Toxic runoff created rivers of sludge that poisoned everything downstream. The air tasted of chemicals and death, and scattered among the destruction, bodies. A young predator crushed by automated equipment. Several herbivores dead from drinking poison water. Smaller creatures lay everywhere, killed by toxic fumes or destroyed habitat. Frost made a sound Ryan had never heard before. Pure grief. The other predators took up the cry. It echoed across the wasteland, a chorus of loss and rage. Ryan felt tears streaming down his face. Kowalski fell to her knees. Lou's songs died in his throat. They killed them, Dr. Okonkwo whispered. They didn't even know they were killing people. The mining camp sat at the center of the devastation. Prefabricated structures surrounded by automated defenses. Ryan approached with his delegation, stepping over poisoned ground that a heavy-set man emerged from the largest building. Multiple species accompanied him, all wearing corporate uniforms. He looked at the humans with barely concealed contempt. You're trespassing on a licensed mining operation. Ryan stepped forward. Frost moved beside him, massive and furious. You're destroying migration routes, killing intelligent creatures. The mining boss laughed. Creatures? Those are animals. We have every right to extract resources. They're people, Ryan said quietly. And you murdered them. Prove in court. Now get out before I have you removed. You in what army? Kowalski asked flatly. The man gestured to his guards and automated defenses. Dozens of weapons. Military-grade equipment. Frost stepped forward. The sound that came from deep in that massive chest made the ground vibrate. From a surrounding wasteland, predators emerged. Dozens, then hundreds. Raptors and flyers. Massive herbivores and sleek hunters. Every creature that had bonded with humans and their bonded kin who followed their lead. They surrounded the mining camp in silence. Waiting, the guards dropped their weapons. Several miners fled to their ships. The boss went pale. This is illegal, he stammered. So is unlicensed mining on an inhabited world, Rodriguez said, appearing with a larger group of colonists. But we can discuss that with the council. The miners abandoned their equipment and fled within hours. Their ships vanished into orbit, leaving destruction behind. Ryan stood in the poisoned wasteland and felt rage war with helplessness. Frost pressed against him, trembling. We fix it, he said firmly. Together. The work began immediately. Humans and predators labored side by side. They dug channels to redirect water away from contamination, built artificial ponds and water sources, planted seeds from the colony's genetic banks. The flying predators scattered plant material across barren ground. Dr. Okonkwo worked frantically to complete her translation device. She had been studying predator vocalizations for months. The prototype was crude but functional. When she activated it near Frost, complex sounds emerged. The device struggled to translate. Guardians. We are guardians. Ryan stared at the device, then at Frost. Guardians? Dr. Okonkwo adjusted settings. More sounds, more translations. The predators shared their history. Long ago, another species had lived on Ragnarok. Builders who created wonders and then departed to the stars. The creatures evolved in their absence, developing intelligence and purpose. They became guardians of the world left behind. They had been waiting, testing visitors. The previous expeditions came with weapons and greed. They failed the test. Then humans arrived. Ryan freed wounded Frost when he could have fled. That single act of compassion changed everything. We waited for the right ones, the translation device reported. The ones who understand. You passed. Ryan knelt beside Frost, understanding flooding through him. The attacks on previous expeditions hadn't been mindless violence. They had been judgment. The miners didn't know, he said softly. No, the device translated Frost's response. They saw resources, not people. They always see resources. Over the following weeks, the wasteland began to heal. New growth appeared. Water ran clearer. Creatures returned cautiously to reclaim their territory. The council observer filed continuous reports. Human-predator cooperation on massive scale. Shared purpose and mutual care. The impossible becoming routine. News spread across the galaxy. Some responded with wonder, others with fear. The idea of humans bonding with apex predators terrified species who saw only danger. But on Ragnarok, humans and Guardians worked together to repair what greed had broken. And in doing so, proved that some bonds transcended species, language, or form. News of human success on Ragnarok 7 spread through galactic networks like wildfire. Within weeks, every civilized world knew the story. Humans had accomplished what the Council declared impossible. They had tamed a predator world. The reactions varied wildly. Scientific communities erupted in debate. Some demanded access to study the phenomenon. Others insisted the reports must be fabricated. Academic papers flooded journals, arguing about human psychology, predator intelligence, and the nature of interspecies bonds. Military strategists saw different implications. A human colony protected by apex predators could defend territory that conventional forces couldn't hold. The strategic value was enormous. Classified reports circulated through defense networks. Corporate interests moved fastest. A trade consortium offered the colony 10 million credits for exclusive rights to study and replicate their methods. Representatives arrived within the month, expensive suits and calculated smiles. Ryan met them in the colony's council chamber. Frost lay beside his chair, a silent reminder of what they really wanted. "We're prepared to be very generous," the lead representative said. "Share your animal control techniques, and you'll all be wealthy." "They're not controlled," Ryan replied. "They're friends. You can't buy friendship. Everything has a price." Ryan stood. Frost rose with him, towering over the corporate delegation. "The exit is that way." Other species attempted their own versions of the Ragnarok model. A military expedition tried to pacify a forbidden world using human advisors. They ignored the advice about patience and respect. 3 days later, rescue teams found survivors, but no successful bonds. A scientific colony tried systematic approach, treating dangerous creatures like experimental subjects. The predators tolerated observation, but formed no connections. The project dissolved after a year of failure. The pattern repeated across a dozen worlds. Without genuine compassion and respect, the bonds didn't form. You couldn't fake it. The creatures knew. The council convened emergency sessions. Representatives argued for days about proper response. Some demanded forced evacuation of Ragnarok, fearing human-predator alliance as galactic threat. Others insisted humans had solved an impossible problem and deserved recognition. The debate raged until corporate operatives made their move. They came in the night. Professional kidnappers hired to capture bonded creatures for study. If humans wouldn't share their secrets, corporations would take them by force. The team infiltrated during a storm. They identified a young raptor from Kowalski's pack, separated from the others. Perfect target. They fired tranquilizers and moved in with restraints. Professional. Efficient. They had the young raptor secured within minutes. Then the forest exploded with fury. The pack alpha screamed warning. Every bonded creature within range responded. Frost arrived first, moving with terrifying speed. The kidnappers' weapons might as well have been toys. Kowalski reached the scene with colony security. They found the operatives unconscious but alive. The young raptor stood unharmed, surrounded by protective pack members. Frost had the operation leader pinned beneath one massive paw. "Talk," Rodriguez demanded. The operative did. Corporate backing. Black market for exotic creatures. Promises of wealth beyond measure. Rodriguez contacted the council directly. Transmitted evidence of corporate crimes. Demanded action. The response surprised everyone. The council officially recognized Ragnarok 7 as Human Protectorate. New designation: Sanctuary World, Human Guardian Partnership Zone. But recognition came with conditions. The colony must accept limited visitors. Scientists, diplomats, those genuinely seeking to understand. Under human supervision. Following strict protocols, Ryan found himself heading a new department: Xenofaunal Relations. His job: teach others how to approach the Guardians properly. The first class included representatives from 6 species. Most were terrified. All were skeptical. Ryan led them into the forest with Frost beside him. Kowalski brought a raptor pack. Lou sang softly as massive herbivores gathered. Rule 1, Ryan explained. They're not animals. They're people. Treat them with the respect you'd show any intelligent being. A reptilian scientist raised a clawed hand. But they can't speak our languages. Dr. Okonkwo demonstrated her translation device. Frost's vocalizations became understandable words. The visitors listened in growing amazement as Guardians shared their thoughts. To be why week's end, two of the visiting scientists had formed tentative bonds. A diplomatic aide successfully communicated with a flying predator. Small successes, but genuine, word spread. More requests flooded in. Species who had written off dangerous worlds as lost territory began reconsidering. If humans could do it, perhaps others could learn. Dr. Okonkwo published her comprehensive study, Empathy as Universal Survival Trait, Human Success on Predator Worlds. The paper went viral across academic networks. It challenged fundamental assumptions about colonization and coexistence. Point 3 theories dominated discussion. Some argued humans possessed unique psychology that enabled cross-species bonding. Others insisted any species could learn if properly taught. A few suggested the Guardians were special, more receptive than typical predators. Ryan thought they were all partially right and completely missing the point. It's not about special abilities, he told a journalist conducting interviews. It's about seeing others as people, not resources or threats. That's not uniquely human. That's a choice anyone can make. The colony population grew. News of success attracted those seeking fresh starts. Some came to study, others to live among the Guardians. All had to prove they understood respect and compassion before being accepted. The Council designated other forbidden worlds for human evaluation. Perhaps Ragnarok wasn't unique. Perhaps other impossible places just needed the right approach. But success attracted danger too. Some species viewed human guardian bonds as threat to galactic order. Whispered discussions in council chambers. Concerns about humans controlling apex predators. Fear of what that power might mean. Rodriguez increased security. The Guardians themselves became more protective. They had learned that not all visitors came with pure intentions. That on quiet evenings, Ryan would sit with Frost overlooking the colony. Lights glowed against alien darkness. Humans and Guardians moved together through the streets. Children played while predators watched over them. We started something, Ryan said softly. Change how the galaxy sees dangerous worlds. Frost made a thoughtful sound. The translation device on Ryan's belt rendered it simply. Change how galaxy sees family. Ryan smiled and leaned against warm fur. Family. That's what they had built. Not through conquest or control. Through patience, compassion, and the radical choice to see others as equals. The galaxy was still learning that lesson. But on Ragnarok, it was simply life. 1 year after landing, Ragnarok 7 celebrated its first anniversary as an official colony. The plateau that once held desperate refugees now thrived with permanent structures. Proper schools, medical facilities, research centers, and everywhere, the Guardians. Construction crews worked alongside massive herbivores who could move materials that would take humans days to shift. Flying predators helped engineers access difficult locations. Kowalski's raptor pack had grown to include 3 more families, creating an integrated security network that never slept. Children grew up speaking 2 languages, human words and Guardian vocalizations. Dr. Okonkwo's daughter could call raptors by name and understand their responses. She played with young Guardians the way human children played with puppies, except these puppies would grow to weigh several tons. Ryan ran the Xenofaunal Relations Department from a building at the colony's edge. His team had grown to 15 full-time trainers. They processed applications from across the galaxy. Most were rejected. Not everyone could approach Guardians with proper respect, but some succeeded. An elderly philosopher from a crystalline species formed a deep bond with one of the herbivores. They spent hours in what appeared to be meditation, though Dr. Okonkwo suspected it was genuine communication beyond current translation abilities. An engineer from an aquatic species worked with the ocean-dwelling guardians, learning their migration patterns and establishing the first underwater colony outpost. Turns out the monsters of Ragnarok's toxic seas were actually quite friendly once you stopped trying to kill them. The Council officially recognized the colony's success. Ragnarok 7 became a protected sanctuary world. The designation carried legal weight. No mining. No anoseraísta expeditions. No corporate exploitation. Other forbidden worlds were being reconsidered. A human advisory team had been dispatched to 3 separate locations. The results were mixed. One world showed promising early contact. Another proved too hostile even for patient approach. The third was still being evaluated. "We're not miracle workers," Rodriguez told the council representatives during a status meeting. "Some worlds can't be colonized. Some creatures can't or won't bond with outsiders. That's okay. Not everything has to be useful to be valuable." The message was clear. Ragnarok's success didn't mean humans could tame any dangerous world. It meant they could recognize when genuine connection was possible and respect when it wasn't. Ryan spent his mornings training new arrivals. Today's group included 3 scientists and a diplomatic aide. He led them into the forest with Frost padding beside him. "Remember," he explained for the 100th time, "the Guardians aren't pets. They're partners. Equals. If you can't accept that, turn back now." One scientist raised a tentacle. "How do we know if they accept us?" "They'll let you know." Ryan gestured to Frost. "This is Frost. We've been together since the beginning. But that relationship took months to build. Patience is everything." Frost approached the group slowly. Each visitor received a careful sniff. The Guardian made small sounds that the translation devices rendered as assessments. Curious, nervous, respectful, afraid but trying. "Good," Frost's device translated. "They learn." The diplomatic aide, a young insectoid, trembled as Frost investigated her. But she held her ground and kept her voice steady. "I'm honored to meet you, Guardian Frost." Frost made a pleased rumble. Small start, but genuine. Back at the Colony Center, Dr. Okonkwo reviewed data with her research team. A year of observations. Thousands of hours of recordings. Behavioral analysis that rewrote xenobiology textbooks. "The Guardians have what we might call culture," she explained during her presentation to visiting academics. "Traditions passed between generations. Art in the form of territorial markings and vocalizations. Even what appears to be spirituality connected to their role as world protectors." The implications were staggering. Intelligence existed in forms the galaxy had never properly recognized. How many other worlds held people in shapes that didn't match expectations? Evening fell across the colony. Families gathered for communal dinner in the central plaza. Humans and Guardians mixed freely. Children climbed on patient herbivores. Raptors played gentle games with supervised youngsters. Flying predators roost on buildings, watching over everyone. Frost found Ryan at their usual spot overlooking the settlement. The massive Guardian settled beside his human friend with a contented sigh. "Long day?" Ryan asked. That Frost translation device hummed. "Good day." New ones learn respect. Some of them, anyway. Ryan scratched behind Frost's ears, hitting the spot that made the Guardian's back leg twitch. "We're changing things, you know. The whole galaxy is watching." "Let them watch," Frost responded. "We show them better way." A new ship appeared in orbit. Its signature marked it as a colony vessel. Captain Lee monitored the approach with interest. "They're requesting landing permission," she reported to Rodriguez. "Colony ship from the Outer Rim. 5,000 passengers seeking sanctuary." Rodriguez reviewed the manifest. Refugees. Desperate people fleeing conflict. Looking for somewhere to start over. "Grant permission," she decided. "We'll need to expand the settlement." Ask the Guardians if they're comfortable with more humans. The answer came quickly. The Guardians welcomed those who came in peace. Their world was large enough for many, but this ship wasn't headed for Ragnarok. Rodriguez pulled up its flight plan. Destination, a different forbidden world. One of the planet's human advisors had evaluated. The captain of that vessel had studied Ragnarok protocols. her crew trained in proper approach techniques. They carried translation devices and understanding. Remember, the captain addressed her colonists. We're not conquerors. We're neighbors. Let's make some friends. Ryan watched the distant ship through the colony's telescope, beginning a journey that his colony had started, carrying forward the lesson that friendship transcended fear. Dr. Okonkwo joined him, holding her daughter's hand. The little girl waved at young raptors playing nearby. Do you think they'll succeed? Okonkwo asked. Some will, Ryan replied. Others won't, but they'll try. That's what matters. Frost made a deep sound that resonated in Ryan's chest. The translation device struggled with the concept before settling on simple words. Galaxy learning. Slow, but learning. Ryan smiled and leaned against warm fur. Around them, the colony settled into evening routines. Guards changed shifts. Kitchens prepared meals. Children were called to wash up for dinner. Flying predators launched into twilight sky. Normal life. On a world the galaxy once called impossible, the Guardian Elder approached, one of the massive herbivores who rarely came to the colony center. It carried authority in every movement. Dr. Okonkwo activated her most advanced translation device. The Elder's words came through carefully. Your species understands the old truth. What truth? Ryan asked respectfully. Strength without compassion is only violence. Compassion without strength is vulnerability. Together, they create harmony. The Elder touched Ryan gently with its massive head, then turned and walked back toward the forest. Other guardians followed, returning to their territories. The day shift ending. The night shift beginning. Ryan sat with Frost as stars emerged in alien sky. Colony lights glowed warm against gathering darkness. Somewhere in the distance, a human voice sang. Guardians answered with their own vocalizations. Music across species. We're just getting started. Ryan said quietly that Frost's response needed no translation device. Just a sound of contentment and agreement. A promise that wherever this journey led, they would walk it together. The galaxy thought Ragnarok would be humanity's grave. Instead, it became proof that friendship could exist anywhere, that the most dangerous predators could become the most loyal companions, that walls built from fear would always be weaker than bridges built from compassion. And as new colony ships launched toward other impossible worlds, carrying hope and understanding, the lesson spread. Not every species could replicate human success, but everyone could try approaching the unknown with open hearts instead of raised weapons. On Ragnarok 7, humans and Guardians had shown the galaxy a better way. Now, it was up to the galaxy to decide if they were brave enough to follow.